So what's up people, and welcome to another P.A.M.E.L.A video. So today's video is not your usual gameplay video, and it's something that I wasn't sure if I wanted to make, but I figured that it's probably important enough to make as a discussion video. And so yeah, I wanted to bring this up. The reason I'm making this video is because of the recent events that have been happening with the developers of P.A.M.E.L.A. And overall, you know, over the past year and a half that since P.A.M.E.L.A has been released, there has been updates and news releases and, you know, game updates and various things that have been informed by NVYVE. And overall, it took a while, but recently, you know, things have been moving a little bit faster. And it's been going the way I was hoping it to go, which is that the game developers will continue to focus on the game, and it will continue to increase in the resources available as the game develops and continues to sell. And they would invest this back into, of course, P.A.M.E.L.A as, you know, most successful game companies would do. And then it will continue on to bring out updates faster with larger updates. And of course, the game will get to the point where we all want it to go. Now, so the reason I'm making this video and the reason why I titled this video as a concern is because of the recent news release that NVYVE did. And it's basically a news release that promotes the development of a game. Unfortunately, it's not P.A.M.E.L.A. It is a game called Hypergun. And from what I can tell from the news release, Hypergun is the second game that NVYVE will be releasing this summer. And of course, they will be focusing a lot of development and resources to the development and, you know, updates to this game. And they're all looking forward to it. And what's interesting is this was the big news release that was given to P.A.M.E.L.A players is congratulations, you know, we have some good news for you. We're developing a game that has nothing to do with the game that you're playing. Now, I'm being a little bit, I guess, cynical about this, but it's not because of the fact that I'm worried just from my own personal intuition with regards to this game, but situation, but basically because of the deja vu that you get when you hear something like this, because there has been so many game developers who's done this where they've lost focus by developing another game and basically focusing away from the game that was being developed, and because of that, both games eventually fail and goes down. Now, this isn't just speculation to this game. I'm just talking about the sheer large numbers of companies which basically lost focus in the development of the game. And this deja vu is just so hitting close to home that I wanted to bring this up in this video. Now, I know that I'm not the only one that's concerned out there. There's a lot of other P.A.M.E.L.A players who have expressed their concern. When the news release came out, there was a lot of discussion that came out with regards to that, the comments that came out from the users. And let me read the first 3 comments that were associated with this news release. Now, of course, they're from P.A.M.E.L.A players. Okay, so the first one reads, "Very poor choice. This is what Keen did and they are failing badly. Narrow focus is better. Don't get greedy." The next one says, "Still unplayable on GTX 1060. FPS below 40, even on low settings. I kinda regret that I bought this game." The third one says, "I've seen this before. The odds of them finishing this game just went down the toilet. Will be removing from list. I hope you prove me wrong, but history tends to repeat itself. Best of luck, devs." So what's interesting with regards to all these comments is that they're not making it with regards to, oh, you know, you've brought out another game and I'm just butthurt with regards to this. Every single one of them are saying, I've seen this before. This has happened with so many games out there, game developers out there who have started losing focus, wanting to develop too many things at once. And now I'm going to have to watch it again, or I'm going to stop playing this game. And as many of them said, they're going to stop playing this game. Now, just recently, the developers came out with yet another message to the players of P.A.M.E.L.A. saying that don't worry, we will be continuing to focus our efforts into P.A.M.E.L.A. and we do have some great expectations for this game. Now, great expectations was something that the developers always had. I mean, you knew this from the messages that you saw in the description of the game. A lot of the things that they were hoping to get still hasn't been achieved yet, but they've always hoped to get those things. So expectations was something that we didn't have, a shortage of. It's the actual development that we're all hoping for. And once again, I mean, it's not one of those things that we're like, oh, this is the first time and I'm not sure whether I should be concerned or not. This is something that has happened with so many developers. And then it's oftentimes where the players will say, this has happened before. Please take a look at this. And many developers will say, don't worry, don't worry. And this message that recently came out, as hopeful as it is, and I still want to be hopeful for this game, it brings out yet even more concern because of the fact that every other company that went down the toilet, as that one commenter said, also brought out the same sort of message. Don't worry, we have great expectations. Don't worry about it. And so, yeah, I'm going to worry about it because of the fact that, it's again, deja vu. I've seen this before. And I just don't want it to happen to this game, because I see a lot of potential, but now I worry about where this is going to go. And to be honest, I don't really have to talk too much more about this because there are a lot of other people out there who comment in a much better way than I do. And one of them is a YouTuber named CleanPrinceGaming. He's actually quite a popular YouTuber, having almost 500,000 subscribers, and he creates some really nice videos that talk about how game developers have murdered their own games. His games, these games have been murdered series is really popular, and he does a really good narration with regards to how the developers actually destroyed their own game. And what's interesting is it's really popular because there's so many of them out there. There's a series. He has just tons of examples of how developers actually destroy the games. And it's oftentimes interesting because there's a familiarity between all of them, which is things like a lack of focus by the developers on the losing of interest, or, eventually not having enough resources for their great expectations. And in fact, what I will do is, leave a link to 2 of those games out there. They're indies games. One of them is Ark. Yes, Ark, the very famous game. And the other one is Dayz, another very famous game. Both of them became a lot more popular and a lot more developed than P.A.M.E.L.A. And my worry is maybe in about a year, since P.A.M.E.L.A. is not even close to being as developed as Dayz or Ark, we might see an even faster downfall if we don't be careful, or if the devs don't be careful. And that's one of the reasons, if the devs are watching, please go see, don't listen to me, please go listen and see these videos by CleanPrinceGaming. I'll leave the links to the 2 of them for Ark and Dayz, and take a look at them. And in fact, here's one part that I will play from CleanPrinceGaming with regards to his comment on Ark.
Here's a not so controversial opinion. Early access can destroy games and developers. The idea behind early access is novel and well-intentioned. Create and develop a game allowing the gamers to be a part of the process. Don't develop in isolation and wait for release to gauge interest and faults. Instead, do it all simultaneously so that by the time the game launches in its finished state, it's the best version of that product the studio can muster. Unfortunately, that is the idealist version of early access. In practice, the system allows for far different realities to manifest themselves. Early access is all too often used as a crutch, a development extender in which studios often waver in focus and slowly lose interest in their own games.
Yes, slowly lose interest in their own game. Yeah, that's the worry that I have in this particular situation. Now, what's interesting is if you listen to that video. There are other problems that kind of focused on some of the complaints that many users had with regards to the early parts of P.A.M.E.L.A. One of the things they talk about is, of course, a lot of developers keep on expanding the game and wanting to put more and more stuff in without optimizing the game, and they never get optimization. Eventually, players get seriously frustrated and just go away and say, why don't you just fix it instead of trying to keep on making it grow? And yeah, I mean, we finally get optimization, and I was like, oh, maybe this is working well. And what's interesting is CleanPrinceGaming actually comments on, has 2 videos on how a game developer was actually successful in developing a game as well. And 2 of the things that, companies that he shows as an example, one is Digital Extremes with Warframe, and the other one is, I think, Unknown Worlds is the name of the game developer for Subnautica. And considering one is a free-to-play MMORPG type of game, or MMO first-person shooter, or whatever you want to call it, and the other one is basically an indie survival game, you would think that there would be little in common with these 2 games, except there's one thing that both developers did. They remained completely focused on one game. And they worked it, continued to grow, add more resources. I mean, Digital Extremes, when they first started out, if you hear a lot of the raving, wonderful comments that you hear by the reviewers for Warframe, a good majority of them said when they first played the game a few years back, they thought it was crap. You know, how can this game be any good? They went away, they came back several years later, and they were awestruck at just how good the game has developed. And that was the commitment that the developers did to the game. And it was so refreshing to see a game developer actually commit and put their efforts into the development of a game instead of trying to grow their business as fast as possible by destroying every game out there. And both Unknown Worlds and Digital Extremes did that, and congratulations to those companies, because there aren't too many companies out there that actually are willing to put that commitment in. Now, I'm hoping that I'm wrong with NVYVE, and they actually will continue to add more and more and more and more resources into this. But if their expectation is, well, you know, the team right now, we have a lot of great ideas, all they have to do is work harder, then I'm sorry, that's bad management. So yeah, if you're gonna have a letter that comes out that says we have great expectations and we want to notify the players of P.A.M.E.L.A. to not worry, then please tell us how you're going to be doubling the number of people over the next few months, or putting an X number of people in. You know, if this is the number of people that we added to Hypertech, don't worry, because this is the exact number of people that we've also added to the existing number of people that we currently have for P.A.M.E.L.A. And that shows that we have been focusing and developing P.A.M.E.L.A. But if not, if you're not going to say that, then how can we feel that way? Because yes, it's a zero-sum game. If you put in number of people into a different game, then that means that you couldn't put those number of people into P.A.M.E.L.A. And I'm playing P.A.M.E.L.A. I'm not playing Hypergun, so that doesn't make me feel good. So NVYVE, if you are serious in easing a lot of the concern by a lot of the players, then I hope you bring out yet another news release update of actually stating the number of resources you are going to be focusing into P.A.M.E.L.A. in addition to the existing development team that exists right now, and what you're going to be doing in the actual growth of the actual essence of the game. I don't want to hear yet, well, we're going to have another location, or we'll have NPCs. No, what are the NPCs going to do? What is the main player going to be able to do to actually feel that there is content in this game, not just location, not just random zombies wandering around, not just robots that chase you, but really story content that the player can interact with, not echoes. What I'm saying is puzzles, quests, all of that, and tell us what's going on. and maybe that will make me feel better. And tell us a deadline to which all of this will come out, because you've given a deadline for Hypergum. Please give us a deadline for the next major content update for Pamela. Okay, and in any case, I thank you in advance for doing that, because I'm looking forward to that. And I think there's a lot of other players that are feeling the same way. In any case, for the other players, sorry if I've vented for a little while. I just needed to get this out. And if you have your views that are same or different, please post it in the comment section below. I would like to hear what the other people feel with regards to this sort of situation, and whether you felt that other companies have done similar sorts of situations, and have they succeeded or have they failed. In any case, yeah, thank you very much for watching this video. I'll go back to the usual Pamela gameplay videos in the future, and I hope you join me at that time. Until then, happy hunting, happy surviving, and as always, yeah, enjoy a nice day, everyone.